What up, everybody? Welcome to Wheel Talks. I'm Marty O'Connor, and this is my boy.
Sonny Casebout.
The show doesn't work out. Anyways. What's good, Wheel World? We are back at it again. It's been some time, bro.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I missed you guys. I really did.
I did
You know,
too.
life gets in the way sometimes.
It does.
just kind of sucks, you know.
It does.
It's
What have you been up to?
Yeah, man, a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of working. I took some time off for myself, really
Nice.
just to find myself
Nice.
again.
Going through some changes?
Oh, yeah. Big changes, bodily changes. Mm-hmm.
Bodily changes.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Man.
Well, all
No,
right.
man, I had about a 2-month project that just really kicked my ass.
Nice.
But it ended up great. You know, I'd really like to thank our producer, Brooks Petershack. He helped us kill it.
You know what? On that note, let's go ahead and get an appreciation picture, Employee of the Month.
There he is.
There it is,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Finally got his face on there.
This sexy Bruno Mars looking mother
Yeah.
father.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But you know what? It really took it out of me, and I think it's really important, you know, to like take that time for yourself. I really needed to kind of rejuvenate. I need to rejuvenate my head,
Yeah.
my mindset, and my perspective. So
Yeah,
I took a week and went to Park City, man. It was just what I needed.
We don't really talk about it, but you're a free man.
Free man,
Free man.
single,
Single.
Thing.
Ready to mingle?
You know?
Okay.
Yeah, so
All you ladies out there, fresh meats on the market right now.
all you ladies, yeah, I won't
Attaboy.
finish that one. Yeah.
Attaboy.
But you know what, man, it's been great. What about you, dude? Tell me about, you have football going on right now?
I do. I've been trying to practice in this heat, which has been quite the challenge because of our disability.
Yep.
But I've come up on a very cool scooter, you know,
Yeah,
which I have a
dude.
video of. I'll throw it up on
Oh,
here.
heck yeah.
That's really allowed me to get around on the field, be more interactive. Because the problem was I'd be kind of sitting in an area and I'd be dependent on somebody else to get me to point A to point B. Because in football, you're constantly changing spots, whatever. But I will tell you this: I guarantee it. I will get ran over once this year.
Oh, yeah.
I will get ran over once this year.
Yeah, but you might be into it.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like.
I've just come close twice already. So
Oh, shit.
it's gonna
But
happen.
Like, I'm stoked that you have that scooter because, you know, like, equipment makes a big difference,
Yeah,
especially in the
huge.
sun. When
Yeah.
it kicks your butt like that, like,
Yeah.
you get so worn out and tired.
Yeah.
And speaking of equipment,
Yeah.
you know, you got to find the right equipment that makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's like to stand.
Yeah, and it
You
shouldn't
know?
be hard. It should be easy.
Stand.
Easy.
Stand.
Easy.
Stand.
Yeah, baby. Easy Stand. You know, we appreciate these guys so much.
Yeah.
And if you don't know about them, come check it out. We will ask,
Yeah.
we'll tell you guys everything you need to know. It really helps you get up on your feet, which is so critical to so many things in your body these days. You know, not just for stretching, not just for the weight bearing, but, you know, bowel, bladder, blood pressure,
100%.
all those things. You know, it really helps. And, you know, I've been trying to do a little bit more work standing up lately.
Yeah, I've
too.
noticed.
Yeah, and it helps,
cool.
man. I feel really comfortable on my feet.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. And probably be a Joe Biden or somebody like that. You know, we won't get into that though. We won't go there. But you know, something like that.
Yeah, we won't go there.
We won't go there.
We won't go
Not
there.
yet.
But
Yeah,
you know, at the end of the day, life gets competitive.
it does.
You know, I mean, you're on the football field, boys get competitive.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a big difference between when it's good competition, good and healthy competition,
Right.
and unhealthy competition. So
Yeah.
that's what we're going to talk to you about today. And stick around for the end because we have some really good tips for you out there. So
Really sweet.
yeah, man. So I think one thing that we deal with in the wheel world
Right.
is some unhealthy competition amongst individuals.
Yeah.
I think, you know, by and large, we are a community, and
Yeah.
a lot of us are out to, you know, help and serve one another. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this unless we wanted to help other people out there.
Completely.
But there's a competition that wants us to not necessarily work with other people that may promote their platform because
Right.
we're all competitive about boosting our own personal platforms.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think in the beginning, you kind of don't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
I was extremely jealous seeing you walk, but I didn't understand our disability. I didn't understand what I was going through physically. So that competition or, you know, jealousy came from a place of not understanding.
Yeah.
But now 8 years into it, I kind of understand. And I think even early on, I got over it quickly once I really understand what our challenges were and how they're different. And I've never really felt any kind of competition from you in a negative way.
Yeah.
You know, we're competitive people, so like there's always gonna be that like I want to one up, but in a healthy way. Like I see you doing your thing, okay, I need to go do my thing.
For sure.
Right, but it's healthy though.
Yeah, and I think in another way, because we know our bodies are so different, we're like polar opposites, right?
Yeah.
You know, you got the upper body, I got some lower, you know, and it's like, yeah, put us together and we're
Frankenstein us, yeah.
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable,
bro.
yeah.
But, you know, maybe if, you know, we both had arms and, you know, maybe we'd be kind of like trying to one up one another all the time. And I think that could be healthy.
That would be healthy though.
That would be healthy. See, that's the difference. With healthy competition, it's trying to promote yourself and others to a higher level. Right. Especially yourself, you know, you could be selfish about it. Competition, you know, at the end of the day, we all want to win. But I think when it comes to your community, you can compete one another to advance both. You know, this isn't a participation trophy thing. This is about everybody being the best versions of themselves and challenging themselves by pushing. I mean, when you have, you know, 20 seconds to get from A to B, you'll go. But if you only have 10 seconds, you're going to rush a whole hell of a lot faster. And that's like, when there's a bar set, you can really elevate your level by, you know, trying to reach and, you know, surpass that bar.
I think one of my biggest pet peeves of this community is it seems like when we get together and we meet somebody for the first time, there's always this back and forth of what can you do? You know, and there's always like, oh, you do this, oh, you do that. Like, it's always this, like, instead of us being excited that maybe this person can drive or this person can do this on their own, it's more of a jealousy. Oh, you could do that, well, I could do this. Right. And it's very childish.
Yeah, we kind of got into this with Richard from Wheels of Walking. You know, Big Dicky over there. You know? No, we were talking about, you know, how he, you know,
isn't handicapped enough.
Isn't handicapped enough. He's fortunate to be able to get up on his legs when he really needs to, and he does have. Does he have full function of his arms? He's just he's totally para.
Yeah, he's total para. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and those are things that. You know, shit, man. I feel like if I could get to his level, I could do anything. And so it's like,
but it's easy to go down that rabbit hole and think if we were in his position, we'd never use a wheelchair.
Right, but why should that hold me back from helping celebrate something that he has accomplished now that was different for him? Because I mean, we all have different things. I mean, I'm further along than him in a couple areas. Yeah. But it's like I'm gonna celebrate when he has something that, you know, that is a milestone for him.
Not only that, you know? We don't know the kind of pain he is from having his lower body crushed.
Totally. Oh,
you know? So if it felt like you were standing on nails every time you put your foot on the floor or rocks, you know what I mean? Like, you probably would use the wheelchair more than you think. You know what I mean?
And I think
it's just easy to judge when you don't understand.
Yeah. And I think an important thing that you mentioned there is pain. You don't understand the pain of others. Right. And we don't need to compare our pain to others' pain. We just need to realize that pain sucks. It's real. It really affects people. And so if we can be, you know, conscientious of that and understand that, you know, when someone like overcomes an adversity or they are doing well, we need to celebrate that because we've seen too often in this community that pain can really lead down a path where people no longer want to be on this earth. You know what I mean? Like this is a difficult life, so we need to kind of cool it. And I think that's something. I mean, as a country, as a world, we can all, you know, just stop comparing, stop trying jealous. To, you know, jealousy, judgment, you know, just trying to bring others down to bring yourself up. I think competition is meant, you know, to bring out the best in us. Yeah. And you know, we get really serious about it. I'm one of the most competitive people I've ever met in my entire life. So I know I beat the hell out of myself, and I need to kind of just know that in the struggle, in the process of that competition, that's where I'm growing myself, you know? I mean, how do you kind of see competition, you know, personal competition to yourself?
I read this book a couple years ago called The 4 Agreements. And one of the agreements is don't take anything personal. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times we like to personalize stuff, and especially when we start comparing. So like, you know, when I go on auditions, I see a lot of the same guys there. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they get the part over me. Yeah. And my competition, my competitive side says, you know, pisses me off. But at the end of the day, it's whoever that person was looking for. You know, and it happens sometimes when in dating, and it happens sometimes when you're going for certain jobs. You really don't know what the other person's looking for. Yeah. So you cannot take it personal. I think that's where we need to stop being so emotional and stop taking things so personal when it comes to these kind of things.
Yeah, remaining realistic is a key too. I know that competition gets the best of me and I
Right.
set a bar that is probably unattainable.
Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't do me any good when I'm trying to, you know, grow and feel good about myself and putting in that effort.
Yeah.
Because just because you don't win doesn't mean you didn't, you know, push the boundaries of your limits and what you
Right.
were capable of before. So, I mean, just on the idea of like personal competition, I think it's really good to set goals and challenges for yourself.
Right.
I think that's something that everyone can apply to their everyday life. You know, whether that's just being a little bit more efficient in your morning routine,
Yeah.
you know, trying to shave off 10, 20 minutes, that's an extra 20 minutes of sleep at the end of the day.
Yep.
You know, like that's a little more time to, you know, spend time standing up on your easy stand.
Exactly.
You know, it's a little more time at the gym. You know, tell me, Kobe said something about half hour, right? Just trying to get it like a half hour more of sleep, like challenging yourself,
Yeah.
and finding that time in the day. I think there's so many things we can do to challenge ourselves that really help us.
Yeah. But you got to keep your emotions in check.
Right.
You know, like I always tell everybody, like your emotions are your most priceless, valued item you have, and if you give those away freely, you know, to people that don't deserve it, to things that don't deserve it, it drains you.
Oh yeah.
You know, so as you're going through the competitive side, and it's okay to get angry, it's okay to be competitive about it, but not to get to the point of emotional exhaustion.
Well, dude, okay, it's funny you say it because earlier you had mentioned that like, oh, you were, you know, kind of jealous that I could walk at the beginning, right? You know, that my legs were working a little bit more. But on a similar note, I was so jealous at the way that you could carry yourself, you know, and how your attitude had shifted more positively.
Right.
Because I feel like I was stuck in a negative rut, in a negative mindset for so long that, you know, just you being able to be so social and go out and talk to people where, you know, I was just kind of focused on myself and just like, you know, grunting through the work and putting it in, like my mentality wasn't there. So from a competition standpoint, I was like, damn, dude, like this guy's really like, he's been able to get over the hump and overcome this thing better than I have. And I think it's something to strive for versus something to like compare, because not everyone is on, you know, the same speed. We all have different programs. I think God has different, you know, timing for all of our different, you know, journeys in this arena here. So use competition to promote yourself for good, not to compare yourself to others. Because I mean, if there's one recurring theme in the spinal cord injury community and disability community and even the able-bodied community, it's like no two people are the same.
Yeah.
You know,
and even if we took a look at what you just said right now, right? I'm sure there's times in your day you would switch your leg activity for what I could do with upper body.
Oh hell yeah!
Right? And even back then, you on the outside it made it look like I was adjusting better than you were, but I think I was just putting on a more of a brave face. Inside, I still had the same emotions you were dealing with.
Yeah.
You know, I was just outwardly trying to figure it out each day and maybe just playing it off better. Yeah. You know, so and that's another thing I think we need to draw attention to is what you see is not always true. You know, especially if you're only seeing somebody for 30 minutes, an hour or two a day, you really don't know what that person is going through, you know? And if you see somebody's Instagram, you really don't know what their condition is.
No.
You know, spinal cord injuries, everybody's very deceiving as well. Nobody really puts on their adversities out there. Yeah. You know, and we've had guests on the show who said that. We know people who do that, you know, and even we've been guilty of doing that at some point during our journey as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I know for me, I don't want to put every single one of them out there. People will just be like, "Yeah, the fuck is this guy? What's he going through, man?" You know, it's tough, man. It's tough. So yeah, you do want to put on a brave face, and you know, I want to kind of go into some things that really, I think are. Let's start with unhealthy competition.
Okay. Right.
I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, but using competition to compare yourself to others. If you're strictly competing at someone to be like they're further along or I'm further along, I think that really defines an unhealthy competition.
Right.
You know, comparing yourself is never a good thing.
Right.
Because really the only measurement you have is from where you were.
Yeah.
You know, am I better than the man I was yesterday?
Right.
You know, what are your thoughts on that?
I actually have a healthy example of this for myself. There was a guy at Goodwill Fitness Center named Greg, and I saw him walking, and I met him early on in his situation. He wasn't walking, and he started showing me videos of what he was doing in aquatic therapy. Mm-hmm. So I took his example. The way he was setting himself up in the pool to walk was inside of an inner tube. Mm-hmm. So I went to my aquatic therapy and asked my therapist if we could try this. And from that point, I started doing the same. I started mimicking the same workout, but putting in little tidbits that would help me out. And it's totally changed my fitness, to me walking in the pool and everything else. So it was healthy. I took what somebody was doing that I want to do and then put it like a twist to it. Instead of me looking at it like, oh my gosh, this guy's already doing this and I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
I looked at it differently. I looked at, okay, he's doing this, but I was analytical about it. I asked him how he was doing it, and then I applied it to myself.
Okay, I love that, because one thing that I can mention about, a healthy competition is that it's measurable.
Yes.
You don't want to have a broad competition that doesn't have any sort of number or measurement or something applied to it, because then that goal will never really be, attained.
Yeah.
If it's something like, okay, dang, I see Sonny, he's putting in like 10 laps a day.
Yeah.
Okay, do I want to do 10? Do I want to do 11, 15? You put a number to it. Make sure that it's measurable, because then you can identify progress, or you could identify your tough days and be like, okay, what contributed to that?
Yeah.
So I think being measurable is important.
Yeah, and it shows emotional maturity when you see somebody doing something that you want to do and you're not afraid to ask. Instead of sitting behind a screen, sitting behind somewhere else and judging that person or gossiping to your friend about, oh, look at so-and-so, look what they're doing. Instead, you're analytical. You're like, oh, I'm going to message this person. Hey, I see you doing this. I'm interested in doing the same thing. That shows confidence, and it shows a healthy competition.
Yeah. One thing, too, that I really like is finding support for your competition.
Yeah.
You don't need to compete by yourself.
Yeah.
I think when you have, a coach or a mentor or like a good team around you, that really helps. I think I'm not going to say our mindsets are fragile, because they're freaking, they have been battle tested. I feel like we're all a bunch of warriors, but they are tough. And I feel like we really can benefit from having those around us who have our best interest at heart, and I think that's really been something that's benefited me, is having good people around me and really 100%. Focusing on trying to keep my close circle, dialed in and healthy, make sure I'm giving back and not just trying to like suck the life out of people that are trying to help me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. No, I agree. So what are some unhealthy ways that you can deal with like adversity or challenges or competition?
Yeah, unhealthy competition. I think even in dating, I think, trying to, set a bar for yourself that, doesn't fit our situation.
Yeah.
Trying to have unrealistic standards or unrealistic things that you want to do in a relationship. I think you really need to be healthy about what you're putting into a relationship, but also what you're expecting out of it.
Yeah.
If I expect that I'm going to, do more outdoor activities than this girl's ever done in her life,
right?
Like, I'm limited in that. Like,
who are you competing with in that setting?
Every guy she's ever freaking dated.
Okay, so is that your mindset though, like going into it?
A little bit. I feel like I've definitely been that guy in the past that's like, I just want to ruin every other guy this chick's ever had.
Is that something that's developed after your accident, or has that always been you?
Always.
Okay. I feel the same way. I've always, especially when it comes to certain things. I mean, not to be TMI, but sexual stuff, things like that. Like, you want to be the best.
Yeah.
After my injury, though, I felt like I compensated because of my injury. Like, not only got to be the best there, I got to be the best everywhere.
Yeah.
Because she could date any guy out there on the streets.
Right.
Why choose me? Mm-hmm. This guy in this situation.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, man.
And that's super unhealthy.
It is because the only thing that should matter is your guys' relationship between you and her.
Yeah.
Or you and your partner.
Regardless.
Whoever that may be.
Yeah.
So I think just setting standards and expectations and being realistic, that doesn't mean you need to set the bar low by any means. You can really push the boundaries of what you two are capable of, and that should be the focus, as opposed to just what can I do to be a man among boys.
Right. I think it's when it comes to unhealthy competition, it's owning who you are. And
Yeah.
that comes not only with the good, but with the bad.
Yeah.
You know, and I think being really reflective in this situation, knowing that this is me. Every man has his own limitations. This is the hand I've been dealt with. Mm-hmm. Okay, but now how am I going to rise to the occasion?
Yeah.
I think that's the level I'm at now. I think it's taken me all 8 years to get here, and I'm still working on it each and every day.
Totally.
But that's the level I'm at now. Like, okay, like this is who I am. This is who I'm going to be. And there's this little voice in my head, because I think we fall into, unhealthy competition. We also fall into patterns. We fall into laziness. Mm-hmm. And there's parts of me that are like, don't be lazy, you know, because it's easy to ask for someone else to do something for me.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'll be sitting at home like, I don't feel like doing this today. And the part of me like, just do it, get it done. You know, and it's that, I think that's a part of unhealthy competition too, is when you just fall back on what you know, you fall back on what's comfortable. You know, as much as comparing and everything else is bad, but also doing what's comfortable to you is also bad too. Yeah. You always need to be a little bit outside your comfort zone. You need to have a little bit of that bubble, that feeling going when you're doing stuff.
Yeah, one other form of unhealthy competition that I see just from working is just having that kind of like financial competition where you're just racing to like make more money than the next guy, or, you know, outperform the company next to you, because you know, I feel like at the end of the day, what you should be measuring yourself by is the impact you have on others.
That's huge.
You know, because not every dollar amount is suited for every type of person.
Right.
I could be super happy in a freaking ranch home, you know, that doesn't need to be some mansion and, you know, some big old thing. It just, you know, you have to set that competition to push you forward, but not to, as you said, put yourself into, into bad habits or routines, because, if I'm so worried about that bottom line, I might just be trying to add more margin on top of a sale than I should have, just so that I can say, oh, look, I screwed this guy over and I made more money because of it. It's like, you want to have a better impact on people, because I think that will go so much further in the long term. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's one thing too to consider on your competition. Is it short term? Is it long term? You know, and then guide your expectations and your goals accordingly. Yeah.
I mean, what are some things you would anchor a healthy competition to? Like, give me some anchors that you really want to like put emphasis on when it comes to healthy competition.
Yeah. Definitely promoting a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
That should be the goal. Maybe not necessarily.
It starts with you, right?
It starts with you. Not necessarily the reward at the end of the tunnel, but becoming a better version of yourself along the way.
Yeah.
You know, and using that competition to push yourself. Another one that I'd mentioned was being measurable. You need a way, to track that kind of progress, forward or backward, and I think those are two pretty important things. What about you?
I would definitely anchor something on passion. You know, that for me to put myself through 100 degree weather days and just be out there baking, if I didn't love what I was doing, if I wasn't passionate about sports, about youth, because I look at these kids and I see me, and how impressionable I could be. At 14 years old, I was super impressionable, and I had good coaches, but I also had bad ones. Yeah. And I look at these kids and I'm looking at a guy who's obviously been through a struggle. They could see the wheelchair, they could see the scar on the back of the neck, they know I have a story.
Yeah.
But I'm out there and I'm pushing them, and I'm out there and I'm figuring it out on the run too, because first time I've ever done anything like this, and I'm everybody's got their job, everybody's coaching a position, and they don't really have time to come put their arm around my shoulder and be like, hey, Sonny, do it this way. But I'm figuring it out and I'm passionate about it, and I don't feel every time I got to go to practice, like, oh crap, I got to go do this. Why did I sign up?
Yeah.
Instead, I feel excited. It's another day. It's another day of growth for not only me but for these kids. So passion. One of your anchors has to be passion. For sure.
I think passion. If you can, combine passion with profession, as you have, I think that's a recipe for purpose right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a great Aristotle quote that I like. It's like, where the needs of the world and your talents cross, there lies your vocation.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you could be using, this fuel that you find in yourself, this competition, this healthy competition, to really push yourself forward that can impact others, now you're really getting somewhere.
Yeah.
I think that's something too on the healthy side is, how is, this competition, this task, this challenge that I have in front of me helping those around me? Is at the end of the day, is it impacting others? You know, are we completely worried about self, or are we benefiting our circle, the people we interact with, you know, the friendships we have, the relationships we're in, you know, the business network that you have, you know, like how are you adding value through this?
Don't you feel like that's been lost now? I mean, I feel like with all the political stuff going on, with COVID and everything, I think we've really lost sight of what we all should be really doing, you know, and helping people around us.
Dude,
being selfless, you know?
People helping people. Yeah. It's powerful stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we're so divided right now because of everything that's going on and everything that's being fed to us. And we just forgot about how to be friends, how to talk to somebody. And, you know, we don't always agree, but we don't take it to this emotional level that everybody's taking it now. And I know we're friends on a different level, but, you know, even people that are more of acquaintances, I still like to know what they're thinking.
Yeah.
And I may still get in my car later on thinking that guy was full of shit, but I still am going to listen to that person and be respectful.
It's about civility, and it's about the ability to have civil discourse with people. Yes. Like, why is my best friend a liberal Democrat Boston fan? Yeah. Like, come on, you know? And it's because we see past that, because we as people have way more in common than we think. You know, like you had mentioned politics. That's a perfect case in point right there for unhealthy competition. Yeah. You know, two parties, two people are running for one position, and everyone on either side wants their person to win. But lost in that is that civility and the realization that we're all humans. We are all here trying to advance ourselves as a nation. We may have different ideas on how to do that, but let's, you know, respect one another and have a conversation about it. Yeah. And maybe at the end we agree to disagree. But let's just shake hands and just, you know, freaking realize we're all humans. We're all here, you know. Let's just freaking love thy neighbor. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Let's bring this whole thing full circle.
Yeah.
All right. Just like we said, we're all in the same battle with our wheelchairs and with our disabilities, whether it's a TBI, whether it was a stroke, whether you're born this way, right? Whether you're a para, whether you're a quad, you're all in the same community because we all have disabilities. And instead of us embracing each other when we see each other out in public, we're quick to judge. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that person could do this. They're just using the wheelchair for that. Yeah. You know, we're quick.
Wheelie bars.
Yeah. We're quick. Oh, don't even start on the wheelie bars, you know? But instead of just showing love, you know what I mean? Because every person you meet that has a disability, they know your pain. Yeah. And that should be the first thing we connect on. Like, hey, I feel you. Right. And instead, it's always like, oh, this person's that, or this person thinks they're this or that. And it's ridiculous, you know. We really need to stop that and start loving each other, you know, because we're all in the same battle.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You know, but at the end of the day, competition can either, you know, promote you or it can inhibit you. So be mindful of whether or not the competition that you're engaging in is healthy or unhealthy. Yeah. If you guys have some other ideas on this, we'd love to hear from you. Please drop a comment below. Definitely. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. You know, share this episode with someone who you think may benefit from it. Yeah. You know, we're eager to get back to these episodes. We got caught up for a minute, man, but you know, we love you guys and we do this for you. We're all in this together, right? We need to realize that our community is stronger together.
Absolutely, man. Just keep it real.
Keep it real. All right, guys. We'll catch you next time.